All right, so Nick,
Let's
your
go.
Lakers could be staring at a first-round matchup with Wild's red-hot Blazers. Should the Lakers be concerned at this point?
Absolutely not. But listen, buckle up. I got a lot to get through right here. I'll try to do as quickly as possible. First of all, shout out to Daryl Morey, James Harden's Houston Rockets, for hopefully winning you guys some money and me some money last night. Told you at the end of the show the Rockets were going to roll the Lakers. It's exactly what happened. That's first of all. Second shout out this morning. I'm like Hot 97, giving shout outs everywhere. Shout out to the Denver Nuggets for a little manipulation of the playoff bracket, which I'm all for. They see the Blazers coming. They see the Lakers potentially being wobbly. So you know what they do? Will Barton, take the night off. Paul Millsap, you've deserved it. Jamal Murray, you've been hurt. You're still out. Gary Harris Jr., that's 4 of your top 8 players not playing. Despite that, the Nuggets had a fourth quarter lead over the unbeatable, dominating Kevin Wildes Portland Trailblazers. So the Nuggets went even further and said, Nikola Jokic, you've been playing. You don't need to play anymore. Now, he hadn't been playing that well. Chris Broussard's third in the MVP, I think, had 8 points last night, but who cares? So the Nuggets wanted the Blazers to win. The Blazers eventually obliged. And so I'm very excited because it's a tradition unlike almost any other in the NBA and American sports. A late season, regular season swoon of a LeBron James team that makes people say really foolish things. I'm old enough to remember all the way back in 2018 when that Cavs team was such a mess. Folks went on television and picked the Pacers to beat them and then had the Raptors as massive favorites in that series. I'm old enough to remember in 2016 when that was the year that the Raptors were going to get through, or in 2015 when the Hawks, oh my God, the Cavs don't have it together, David Blatt. And what happened? The LeBron James team did not underachieve. They overachieved. In fact, what's the last time a LeBron James-led team underachieved in the postseason? You could argue 2014, the finals loss to the Spurs. I would say it's been all the way back to 2011. So no, I'm not worried about the Blazers. I'm not as convinced as you guys are that this will even be the matchup we get, but the rest of the West, because they are accurately and acutely worried about the Lakers, Broussard, the rest of the West is going to help the Blazers along the way. You had the Nuggets help them last night, and Saturday, you know who the Blazers play? The Los Angeles Clippers. Set your watch to it. My guess is Kawhi, Paul George, have the night off because the whole West would love the Lakers to have a tough first-round matchup. So the Blazers will be tried to be pushed into the postseason. But no, I'm not concerned about it, Chris Broussard.
You know, what all of that says to me, you're very concerned, Nick Wright. You are.
Oh, my God. And I don't lie to America.
Let me keep with the premise of the show and give a shout-out myself to the Portland Trailblazers. I'm happy for these guys. You know, Dame Lillard, we know he's one of the best players in the league. And second, by the way, on my All-NBA ballot, my official ballot, as a guard. But Damian Lillard is playing great. I'm happy for the Blazers because they're healthy. Zach Collins is back. Of course, Jusuf Nurkic, who's playing really great ball, is back. So shout out to the Blazers. I couldn't be happier for this team. They will be the AC, Nick Wright. Mark it down. I don't even think Memphis is going to be in the play-in game. I think it's going to be Portland and maybe Phoenix or somebody like that. But Portland's getting there. All of that said, I'm with Nick. There is no reason to worry, all right? The fact is, as good as Portland looks right now, they're not going to beat the Lakers. The problem the Blazers have when they face the Lakers is that they have absolutely, positively no one to guard LeBron James. Not who Carmelo Anthony, not Hoodie Melo couldn't guard him. Skinny Melo can't guard him. Even Nick Syracuse Melo couldn't guard LeBron James. And Zach Collins,
Syracuse Melo.
They got nobody to guard LeBron. And there is such a thing, as Nick pointed out, as playoff LeBron. You give playoff LeBron Anthony Davis, they're running through the Blazers. Maybe they take them 5, in a 6, I don't know, but there's no way they're beating the Lakers.
Yeah. How's that feel, Wildes? You like that?
It feels fine. Broussard started out, he pulled a Nick Wright. He started out by shouting out himself and congratulating him, and he's happy for the guys. Then he throws him on the bus under the bus 2 minutes later. All right. Hey, some weekend watching. Hey, on Sunday, it's Tyson versus Jaws, part of Shark Week. And it made me start thinking, you know who reminds me of Mike Tyson here? The Lakers. And the big question of this is like, hey, is this fight, Tyson versus Jaws, going to be on the water or in land? Because if it's on land, I think Tyson would have the advantage. But if it's in water, I would probably go with the man-eating beast. So here's the thing. The Lakers are Mike Tyson. The Blazers are the Jaws. And the bubble is the deep blue sea. Because look at the Lakers in the bubble. The worst. Field goal percentage. The worst. Three-point percentage. The worst. Second worst free throws. Bad news, they're second to last in assists, and they're also turning the ball over. Then look at the lovely Blazers who have a brand new team. Oh, they're the best. The ninth doesn't seem great. I would have taken that off the graphic if I was in control of the entire graphic. 3-point is the best too. And I know you're saying, but LeBron. Okay, but LeBron, but AD. The thing about the Blazers, Nick, there are multiple ways to beat you. Dame had 45. Nurkic had 22. Gary Trent Jr. had 27. CJ and Melo only had 20 combined. Doesn't matter. They can still win. I would be very nervous. You know there's no home court. The idea that there's no reason to be nervous is silly. You got to give yourself, say, a little bit nervous. Right now, you're like the guy getting thrown out of the bar claiming he's not drunk. Dude, just say you're a little bit drunk.
No.
And that you'll behave.
No, because this is the same thing. You weren't with the show yet, but this is the same thing 2 years ago. Jenna tried to convince me to say all year long about the Cavs in 2018, who not only didn't have an Anthony Davis, they had nobody. Love was in and out of the lineup. Kyrie was already gone. Those trades had gone wrong. And every time, especially at the end of the season, as the Cavs were limping towards, the 4 seed, she was like, Nick, admit it, you're nervous. Nick, admit it. You don't have to, admit it. Give yourself an out. Stop being, I'm not nervous. I'll go a step further. I hope the Blazers do get the 8 seed. I'm not as convinced as you guys that they will, but here's why. The one thing you said, Wildes, that I agree with is, obviously, the Lakers' offense has been a disaster during the bubble. Do you know what the ultimate panacea to that is? The 27th ranked Blazers defense. LeBron has looked nothing like LeBron in the bubble. Do you know what the ultimate elixir for that is? Having Gary Trent Jr. or whomever the hell the Blazers are going to try to throw out on him in the first round. Because the playoffs will start in round 2 for the Lakers. They might be playing the Rockets. They might be playing the Nuggets, who by then miraculously will have 4 of their top 8 players back who they didn't play yesterday. And they're going to have to be clicking on both fronts. But Broussard, whether it's the Blazers or whomever else could make the 8 seed, here are the defensive rankings. Blazers 27th, Memphis 16th, Pelicans 19th, Phoenix 18th. I say that to say this. The Lakers offense, which has been dreadful, is going to get some get right whomever they play in the first round of the playoffs, which will have them rolling into round 2. So I think the Blazers will beat the Clippers on Saturday because I think the Clippers want the Blazers in the playoffs, so they'll rest people, but I'm not concerned about it.
I'll say this for Wildes. If I'm the Lakers, I'm not worried about any of the teams. But, yeah, the last team of the grouping that they could play in the first round that they'd like to see is Portland. Danny Green said as much. He didn't say they're worried or scared about the Blazers, but he said of all those teams, Memphis, Phoenix, San Antonio, Sacramento, New Orleans, the one that would give them the most trouble would be Portland. Their experience, they shoot the lights out. The Lakers have trouble guarding the perimeter. All that said, though, the Lakers will beat Portland in the first round. Mark a brother's words.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.